Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Hope everything is well with you today. A new week, start of a new week, and it's been a great day here for me. I did have a little bit of a rocky start this morning, so I'm coming to you in the afternoon. Actually, I have a little bit of time here to do this, uh, and so this morning I don't know if it's happened to you, but I woke up late. I didn't set my alarm and woke up 2 hours late, so I had to scramble and get ready to come to work, and it was a pretty rough morning, rough start, right? And so the whole day, the whole morning, it's been go go go, and I just had a few moments now to sit down and come to you with this. So this is in the raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. And yeah, and so we've been talking about the Beatitudes. Well, actually, the Sermon of the Mount. And we started with the Beatitudes, talking about what Jesus taught as far as a new kingdom. He's establishing a new kingdom, and he's saying this is the way we should do things now as new Christians, as new as a new way of thinking, I should say. Christian wasn't a word yet. They weren't referred as Christians yet, but as a new way of thinking. And so he's teaching his new way of thinking, establishing the new kingdom, and starts with the Beatitudes. We already covered those. And then he starts talking about different scenarios or different ways of acting. And so today we're going to read out of Matthew 5, verses 38 through 42, and it says, "You have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go a mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you." And so what Jesus is doing here, he's talking about basically, how do we treat somebody who has done evil to us? How do we treat somebody who has done bad to us, has done something that offends us? And he's referring to the law, because the law of Moses, the law that was given to Moses by God, said that, if there was something done to you, you would seek retribution by doing the same to that person, right? So eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, that's what it meant, And so God established that because the people of Israel did not have any laws, any structure when they left Egypt. And so I think I've talked about this before. So he gave them like over 600 laws on how to conduct themselves, how to, from anything that you can think of, because they didn't have an idea. They didn't know. They were slaves. And so they were just used to doing what they were told to do. And so now God is giving them all these laws. But Jesus says, we need to think a little bit more than that. We need to think ahead. More. We need, there's more to the just following the law. We have a new way of thinking. And so he's talking about retribution, like how are you going to act towards somebody that's done something wrong to you? And it's not about, some people interpret this like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to turn my other cheek. I'm going to defend myself." I'm not going to let somebody walk all over me. But it's not about that. It's about not paying somebody evil when somebody's done evil to you, because it never ends well when we do something back to somebody else. When we take revenge, when we look for a vendetta, it never ends well. And so the best example I can think of is when I'm on the road, because I drive a lot to and from work, and I drive in traffic, and I see it all the time. People, brake check somebody, or is that how you say it? Or check, yeah, they brake check somebody, and they get in front of somebody, or they just cut somebody off, and then the other person gets upset, and then they start, acting to that, and they react, and then it never ends well. It never ends well, And so what Jesus is saying is, if somebody does something bad to you, do something that they don't expect you to do, And so he uses different examples. The first one he uses is when somebody slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other cheek to them. And like I said, it's not about allowing people to step all over you. But basically what he's saying is, don't pay a wrong with a wrong, pay a wrong with a good. Walk away. That's always a good thing to do. Walk away. Somebody slaps you, the problem is theirs, not yours. If you walk away, if you don't react, if you don't overreact, if you don't do what they expect you to do, which is hit them back, it diffuses the situation. And then he talks about, another example he uses is, if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. In other words, if somebody wants to unjustly do something to you, say, okay, take this as well. Maybe not give him your coat literally, but have a good attitude about it. In the end, I'm telling you, in the end, the people that are doing unjust things or bad or wrong things to you, they will have everything comes back to them. Things happen. Call it what you want, karma, or just a result of your actions. It always happens. And then another example that he uses here is, if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. And that is referring back to, in those days, Jerusalem and the whole region was under the control of the Romans. And the law that the Romans had established was, if a battalion or a company of soldiers come through where you live, and they tell you, help me carry my equipment. Your job and the expectation and the law was that you would carry their equipment for 1 mile, right? For a certain distance. But Jesus is saying, do it for 2 miles. It's about giving. It's about paying a bad with a good. It's about saying, okay, I'm going to be I'm going to do something that you don't expect me to do, and that's going to change the way people look at you, people think of you. And then the other example he talks about is, give to one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one that wants to borrow from you. And what he's saying is, if somebody wants to borrow from you, don't reject them. A good practice is give them the money instead of letting them borrow it. And that's something that I've always thought, and I've put it into practice. When people have come to me and say, hey, can I borrow money? If I can give it to them, I'd rather give it to them. And I tell them, I don't like to lend money, because that opens it up to problems as well. How many problems have you heard of people having because they borrowed money from somebody else and then they don't pay them back? And so I'm better off saying, if I can give it to you, I'll give it to you, as a gift, because I'd rather not, lend money to and then have problems later. If I can give it to you, I'll give it to you. And it's a better way of living. And so, yeah, it might not, to some people, all of this might not sound logical or doesn't make sense, because we're always used to, making sure that people don't trample all over us, like I said earlier, or making sure, that we are doing things fairly. And if somebody does something wrong to me, you need to pay me for it. You need to, we want retribution. But Jesus is saying, be giving, be a little bit more giving, be nicer, do something that they don't expect you to do. Treat them as different than they treated you. And it's all for us. We're gonna live better when we do all that. It's not about them. They have their issues. It's not about them. It's about us. We're gonna live better. Anyways, that's all we have for today, and we will talk to you soon.